Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Curry Parker. Welcome to the Understanding Human Design podcast. I'm here today with quantum human design specialist Liz Hargreaves, and we're going to be talking about something that I think is a really important topic that sometimes I don't think we hit on very much with human design. We're going to be talking about embodiment and why embodying your spirit literally in your body is so important, and the pathways that human design give us to really begin the process of fully bringing our essence into our physical form. So welcome, Liz. We're going to have a great conversation.
Thank you so much, Karen.
So I have to start first, because, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I think it's going to be really cool. I would love for you to take your camera and just twist it around for a minute the way you did when we started talking, and show everyone your amazing studio.
Okay. Well, thank you. I would love to show my studio. So, and a little bit of background. I actually, last year for me was pivotal in terms of stepping into who I am and what I'm capable of doing. COVID actually gave me the kick in the butt that I needed. And embodiment is my life. This is what I do, and this is how I teach others to embody themselves. And as you said, their spirit, their soul. So sound is really, really close to me. It's quite sacred, actually. You can see I have a gong behind me. I have 10 crystal bowls, and I do sound sessions. And in my studio here, it's surrounded by glass. So the whole studio has greenery around it. On the other end of the studio, I'm just going to spin you around here, is my movement portion. And so I'm actually a certified classical Pilates instructor and yoga, and I also have my yoga 200 hours. So we do a lot of movement in here, and it's a beautiful setting. It's very intimate, and my clients actually love coming here. My dog actually really enjoys it too. So that's my studio. This is kind of where it all happens. So
amazing. I want to come over.
Yeah, come to Canada when the borders are open.
So yeah, exactly. So talk to me for just a minute about what is your definition of embodiment and why is it important?
Embodiment to me is about knowing yourself, knowing your nervous system, understanding the language of sensations. I call it sensational language. Mm-hmm. And that's what are the aches and pains? What are the restrictions? Why do you get flutters? I sometimes get when I get excited or I'm nervous about something, I call them heart burps. Mm-hmm. Like it's just this boop in my heart and the solar plexus, right? And the embodiment is about listening and understanding what your body is actually telling you. What is the story? And through that understanding and awareness of the sensational language of our nervous system as in our bodies, we can actually start living life and making decisions from a place of embodiment and deep understanding and knowing, instead of trying to figure things out in our head. Mm-hmm. I mean, our heads are great for receiving inspiration and ideas and processing those ideas, but we can't really rely on ideas or inspiration to actually move ourselves forward in spirit and soul. So that's kind of my mm-hmm. my practice. Yeah.
I love that. And, part of what I love that in conjunction with human design is, the intricacies of strategy by type is not just about body and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. It's really about knowing how to read the body and what the body's saying. So for example, when we talk about emotional authority, that's really the biggest question people have for me a lot is, well, how do I understand emotional authority? Or how do I even understand my sacral if you're a generator type? And if you're not connected to everything that's below the neck, if you will, if you're not connected below the neck, it's really challenging for people to be able to tune into, oh, the alignment is happening now, or oh, my sacral is saying, because that sacral response, for example, is not just a sound, it's a resonance field that happens in the, in the gut. And, I think being able to really support people in getting out of the head where we're so deeply conditioned and dropping into that place where they can feel into their strategy is huge.
Huge, yeah. And the three basic principles of my practice are curiosity, movement, and intuition. And as I said, just as we were talking before, those are three words that came to me even prior to learning about human design, even prior to learning about somatic experiencing. And it's just a natural, and I find out I'm a splenic projector. So intuition, the gate 57, I have instinct. It's just, I have this innate awareness, and I'm able to actually sense and know. I have equal circuitry in sensing and knowing as well. And that ability for me, and it's so interesting with the splenic authority, and how, if you look at the human design chart, the spleen actually is connected with 5 other centers. And so when you think about that, and you think about instinct and intuition and unconscious reactions or actions, it impacts how we feel, what our will is sensing, what our sacral senses, the timing of the root center and the G center, and the throat. So there's all of these other connections that are so intricately connected with instinct and intuition. And it's so interesting that this, you talk a lot about how we're going from a reactive to a proactive or emotional being. And I really see this as even in myself, the instinct and the intuition, it's morphing from a fear-based to a curiosity-based. And it's really like, ooh, that's interesting. Something just hit me. And it's like, boom, it's like, whoa, what was that? And sometimes, yes, they are. I've got to go do this now. Or last summer, I was out paddleboarding and went around the corner of the beach, so couldn't see the boards. And I swear to God, in that moment, it was about half an hour later, I was just like, boom, the board's floating away. I walked back, the board was floating away. That is instinct. And it's just like, wow, that's cool, right? Mm-hmm. So I get really curious about how does our instinct, how does our intuition show up? And that's the curiosity piece. Mm-hmm. So when I add movement into that, I get my clients and I talk to people about slowing down, really slowing down to these micro movements where we actually start in these slow motion movements, we get to feel and sense everything. And you recognize that it is like this amazingly complicated process of the nervous system. And so many things are happening. But in our society these days, we skip so much of it that our nervous systems are just constantly in this state of like, gas pedals on, brake is on. And it's just like we're doing this like weird like brake and gas, and we're like, ah, right? And we don't even know that we're doing this. So this is where we're going to. It's just like we get to actually now use our intuition to be curious and start making informed decisions that are based on embodiment and our body's wisdom.
Yeah. I love that so much, because I think, that addresses so much of what people ask about in human design. And, I want to just go back to the paddleboard piece for a minute. I think people are terrified of not knowing, and they're terrified of being disconnected and making the wrong decision. And I think that we don't realize until we drop into the body, if you will, the amount of information and the clarity of the information that's available when we're really being in our lives and really living, not only in our lives fully embodied, but also being as ourselves. You know, it's pretty spectacular. And I think all these fears about, well, what if I don't do anything? And what if I sit and wait? Or how am I going to know? And all of those questions get answered when you can just be still, I think. And as you said, you used a phrase that I love so much, as you know, as you come home to your body and you learn to understand the language of your body, those are your words, that you can start to navigate, you know, your right place, if you will, in the cosmic plan, and have access to every piece of information that you need to stay supported and stay safe and to stay, you know, inspired and stay creating in alignment with your authentic self.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a beautiful place. And the biggest compliment that I get from my clients is that they start to just be okay in the moment of the
Mhm.
day. It's not about, well, I need to be this tomorrow or I need to be able to do this next week. It's just about, I'm showing up and this is what I'm showing up as today. And that to me is what we need to be doing now or being now, because it's, I'm going to use an analogy because my home office here, I have a desk that sits and faces sort of the same view out here. So I get to look at the greenery in the backyard. And I have a hummingbird feeder and I have a bird feeder. And I watch the birds in the bird feeder. And every day I crack up because they're like, rush, rush, rush. It's like, oh, there's better seeds over there. And they're just like frantically looking for the seeds and stirring them up. And I'm like, that's our society right there.
Mhm.
They're a bunch of frenzied birds trying to find the better seed. And when we are able to, like with the hummingbird feeds on the feeder and then sits and rests for about 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And just sits there, enjoys it, fluffs up, gets all comfy, and then just enjoys the moment. And this is what we miss out on. We're not present enough. We're not being. And we miss out on so much because we're up in our heads and it's this busyness, this disconnected state. And so my goal, my vision is to help people really drop back into the bodies. I have a cheesy expression. It's, hey, did you lose your body? I can help you.
I, I love that. I'm going to use that in my house this day.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You can have that. Yeah.
So you talk a lot about triggers, and you don't really use the word trauma, but you talk about triggers and how triggers take us out of the body. How does that happen? And what do you do specifically that supports people in learning how to work with triggers and stay connected to their embodiment?
Yeah. And this is, and I'm gonna use the word play. It's really about, again, understanding your own nervous system. So we are triggered. We're triggered every moment of the day. We are beings that we are built to be scanning for threats or dangers. That's just how our nervous systems are built. And so we're triggered all the time, but it's what we do with the trigger and is where that trigger lands in our body. Well, this is my dog. He's coming to visit. And and so what we start recognizing is the triggers that we experience are actually triggering something in our cellular memory, in our nervous system. Our nervous systems hold every single memory of our life. And that's like truly an amazing thing. But unconsciously, we can't, cognitively hold all that information. The trigger is actually just kind of knocking on your door a little bit saying, hey, there's something similar in your past or in your experiences that you didn't resolve or you didn't deal with. And the triggers are really, I call it, in the moment we deal with things. In the moment we just have to persevere. And sometimes we can't deal with the emotional, we can't deal with the pain, we can't deal with the trauma in the moment. So we pack it up in a box and we put it down in the basement. And what happens over time is the basement starts getting a little bit cluttered, a little bit, and becomes a little bit of a fire hazard. And at some point, our nervous systems become a little bit packed with boxes. And we get to a point where our window of tolerance for being triggered becomes very, very narrow. And, you know, you think about a stream and you're floating down the stream. This is your window. You want to have a nice wide stream that you have resilience, that you're able to sort of float down the stream and bounce off the sides and still be able to manage. And that's called regulation. So understanding, recognizing triggers, understanding how to release or let the nervous system complete its cycle of whatever that was in the moment, and then build this safety, build this resilience of being able to take on more. So you're basically clearing out your basement, unpacking the boxes, having a look. Are you finished with it? Do you need it anymore? Get rid of it. And that's kind of how we work. And that's the work I do in my training in somatic experiencing, is we learn how to regulate the nervous system. And in my practice, we basically learn how to play with the nervous system, because it's very easy through visualization to take the nervous system and pendulate it from activation to regulation to activation and back again. So you learn how to do that. And once you learn how to do that, you have a better awareness and a greater ability to manage stress. Yeah.
Beautiful. So you have a program coming up in just a little bit called Creating Conscious Connections. Tell us a little bit about your program.
So I'm super excited about this program because it's really a culmination of everything that I've been talking about. This is really giving people the tools to recognize their own triggers, to recognize and learn their own body language, because we all have a different language. Our body speaks differently. And, you know, I hear people saying so many times, I don't trust my body. And I say, well, actually, I don't think your body trusts you.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And if you think about it and you think about how your nervous system, and think of it as part of you, but it's actually a separate entity, and you developing a relationship with it so that you can communicate with it. And so that it begins to trust you, that it doesn't freeze up, it doesn't become restrictive, you don't have aches and pains, you don't have chronic illness. And through the program, we learn how to develop this relationship. We learn the sensational language of our own bodies. And that actually transcends into these beautiful conversations with other people. So when you have the ability to self-regulate, you're not merging into another person's trauma. And this is key. So, I mean, even in the coaching world, a lot of coaches I know have told me that they come into situations where they have a client that might be reliving some sort of trauma or trigger. And it's actually triggering something in the coach. And there's this wall that goes up, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm triggered. I don't know how to move this conversation forward. And the whole coaching relationship can actually break apart because you've lost the trust. So we learn how to regulate our own nervous systems, learn to understand our own triggers so that we can actually have confident conversations and connections with other people, whether it's your family, whether it's your clients, whether it's your business partners. It's the ability to have like the curiosity and not merging, not becoming their story. It's an 8-week, so it's an 8-week course starting on January 21st. Going to be learning information and receiving modules every week to learn, but then we have a weekly coaching, it's a group coaching call where you actually get to practice in a safe environment. And this is where you really build the skills of recognizing what's yours and what's not yours. And this is where the human design piece comes in, because most of us have an open center. I think there's very few people who have all 9 centers defined, but even so, you still are amplifying energy at some way, shape, or form. And then recognizing what's showing up in your body. Is it yours? Is it not yours? Is it your story? Is it not your story? And then being able to move forward in confidence with that conversation. So that's the group coaching part of it. So I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. So this starts starts on January 21st.
Yes.
And if people want to learn more about the program, they can, and also working one-on-one with you, they can visit your website, right?
Yeah.
It's lizhargreaves.ca. And I'm going to spell that for you guys because it's a little bit of a different way of spelling it. So it's Liz, LizHargreaves.ca. So lizhargreaves.ca.
That is correct. Thank you.
So go visit Liz's website and go explore her Creating Conscious Connections program, because I think, especially I would say, if you are struggling to understand your authority, or you're feeling disconnected, say, from your sacral response, or you feel like there's something that's keeping you from letting yourself trust in yourself, your body, or your body trusting you, or in your ability to feel that you are supported in the experience of your own life, this is, I think, an incredible opportunity for you to really find a different way to drop into how you can navigate the landscape of your life by being really in the vehicle that's carrying you through life.
Yeah, coming back home to the body. It's such a sacred thing. We need to have the utmost respect for our human bodies, this vehicle. And you say it so well. So, this is our connection to soul. This is our connection to spirit. This is connection to our purpose. So it's important that we take care of it. And it's important that we listen to it, because there's so much wisdom in our bodies.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Liz, for joining me today. I really wish I could just come over and hang out in your beautiful space.
with my big bowl here, and so sound is another thing that I do. So this is one of my sound bowls, a 12-inch emerald. So sound is beautiful for healing. It touches you at the cellular level and moves and shifts energy. That's my big one.
Yeah. Lovely. No wonder your dog wants to hang out in there. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Liz. Be well. You guys take care of yourselves. Again, lizhargreaves.ca, LIZHARGREAVES.ca, and check out her program. And it's just been a total kick in the pants to talk to you. I'm going to go upstairs and hang out with me and teach them everything you just taught me.
Thank you so much, Karen. Honor to be here. Thank you for what you do and everything that you are.